Senior Fellow over at the Scowcroft Center for Strategy and Security's Forward Defense Practice at the Atlantic Council. He joins us now from Washington, D.C. It's good to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you.
I think the question is, how much ground do the Democrats really lose? Because polls suggest Republicans will almost certainly take the House and are favored to take the Senate. What is this going to mean for Biden's remaining 2 years?
So, first of all, the polls are, as you say, very close. And at this point, I think many seats, especially in the Senate, are what we would say a toss-up. What this, I think, will mean, especially if the Republicans gain control of the House, is that the function of the Congress to pass legislation will effectively grind to a halt. Only in cases where the Democrats and Republicans would agree on something would any legislation actually be passed. But the second function of the Congress is to appropriate money for the executive branch. And here I think we're likely to see a series of bruising battles over legislative priorities, with the Democrats favoring spending on social programs and the Republicans trying to spend more on other things, or just simply to cut the budget entirely. And then the final function will be oversight, where no doubt the Republicans would use control of the House to launch numerous investigations with probably little to show for it at the end, except to energize their own supporters.
Thomas, both sides of the aisle are lending their support to the Ukraine's defense when it comes to Russia's aggression. Do you think that there'll be any difference if Republicans gain control of not the House or the Senate in terms of funding?
You're right that, you're right that a majority of the American people and a majority of the U.S. Congress actually strongly favor supporting Ukraine in its defense against Russian aggression. There is, however, a wing of the Republican Party that supports Donald Trump in being equivocal towards Russia's actions. And I think that their ability to obstruct further U.S. support for Ukraine is going to cause the Democrats and moderate Republicans in the months before the new Congress is sworn in to try to pass additional armaments so that Ukraine can defend itself this winter. So I think we're going to see only a slight change, and it probably will be simply to make the administration work harder to get Ukraine the assistance that it needs.
When we look at the U.S. midterms elections, I think one thing that at least that stood out for me is not every Democrat candidate actually wants to be seen with Joe Biden, and not every Republican candidate wants to be seen next to Donald Trump. What does this say about the political landscape?
Well, this actually is more common than you might think. I've worked in political campaigns where people do enormous amounts of polling to find out who are the advocates and surrogates who most strengthen their candidates, especially in a midterm election where the referendum of the people is often how good a job the current president is doing. You oftentimes see people who want to distance themselves from the current president. What we're seeing now is no different from what we've seen in 2016, 2018, 2014, and other midterm elections. This is relatively normal in U.S. politics.
Okay, interesting stuff. Thomas Warrick, thank you very much for joining us here on Chair Chihuahua. I do enjoy speaking with you. Thank you.
You're most welcome.